Anchor's up, sells it full. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How you doing today, Kyle?
Doing all right, Jared. How are you?
Doing good, doing good, doing good. Oh, second time in a row. I forgot to hit enter on the thumbnail. There we go. 2 episodes in a row I did that. It's all right. It's all good. Kyle, regular season finished. Michigan vanquished. Now is the postseason. And as weird as it is to say, because I don't think we've said this, not this late into the season anyway, since 2006. Best 2 teams in the country are in the Big Ten. The long national nightmare of the SEC thinking that it is so much better than everyone else has come to an end. I mean, maybe they still think it. They probably still think it. But we can all laugh at them now. Where it started off being not that true, but then the perception and the narrative was pushed so hard that the recruits bought in, which eventually made it true. But we're not living in those times anymore.
Yep.
The best 2 teams in college football right now are in the Big Ten, and so weirdly, one of them is Indiana. Well, hypothetical wins don't count as much anymore. I mean, you have that too. I mean, Ohio State doesn't win either of their last 2 national titles in the BCS era. Period.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. They don't get to play for them. They don't get to prove it on the field.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and talk about our the Indiana Hoosiers in the Big Ten championship game. Yeah, it's just so weird seeing
a good Indiana.
A good Indiana.
Like a legitimately good Indiana.
You got Ohio State, who hasn't won the Big Ten title in 5 years. And you have Indiana, who has only ever won the Big Ten conference title twice in its program history.
Were either of those times full championships? Because for the young folks in the crowd, you used to have co-champions fairly often because there was no Big Ten title game. And we used to have the lamest tiebreaker on earth for the Rose Bowl. As anyone who remembers that season remembers, when Ohio State got jobbed out of the Rose Bowl because they were co-champions with Northwestern.
Yep. The last time they were a conference champion, it was a 3-way tie with Indiana, Purdue, and Minnesota back in 1967.
What a lineup.
They did win it. They did win it once. They did win it once outright back in 1945 when they went 9-0-1.
Were we still at war?
1945.
Because I feel like maybe we might have still been at war.
Mm-hmm.
We were definitely still occupying people in the post-war.
Our Army was the national champion that year.
Because we were at war. We had a draft. I'm not even kidding. We had a draft. You played for Army if Army said you played for Army. Now that's recruiting.
Let's get to know Indiana.
Army was world champions in 1945. Esquire, true.
This is true, yes. All right, let's look let's look at Indiana here.
Ended in September of 1945, which that's well after National Signing Day. That's all I'm saying.
All right, we got to move on. Indiana.
No, these history jokes are hitting. Trust me.
Yeah, Indiana here. Defensively, it's like both teams kind of looking at themselves in the mirror. Very, very similar in terms of statistics here. Statistics like points per game. Indiana 3rd, Ohio State 1. Points per play. Indiana 5th, Ohio State 1.
Points per play 4th.
Yards per game.
Unless you're looking
Indiana 6, Ohio State 1.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're looking at the defense. My bad.
Yeah, I mean offensively, yeah. Again, if you look just at the stats, yeah, Indiana has the slight edge over Ohio State. Like they are like 3rd, 4th, 9th, 8th in like the major categories offensively, while Ohio State is like 17th, 27th, 17th.
Are those per play averages?
So if I'm doing per play, because
I think we need to look at per play the way Ohio State's been playing offense this year.
Okay, so points per play, Indiana's 4th, Ohio State is 10th.
Okay.
And if we do rushing yards per rush, Ohio State is 38th. So they've improved. Ohio State has been improving in that.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana is 12th.
Okay.
And then the last one here. So passing, Ohio State yards per pass is 11th at 9 yards per pass. And Indiana is 6th at 9.2.
There you go.
So pretty much even there. So, I mean, statistically, they're just right there. And I think the really important one here, Jared, the really, really important one, look at the third down conversions. Look at the third downs. Indiana is number 2. They are converting 55% of their third downs and letting up just under 29%. It's
pretty good.
Ohio State is number 1 offensively at 55.28, and Indiana's 55.22. So exactly the same, pretty much.
It's a tie.
And then Ohio State is number 2 defensively, converting third downs at 27.94. So
that's
one whole percentage. That's a whole percentage difference.
That's an entire percentage point. That represents several first downs.
Man. This is just going to be just iron on iron if you're looking at statistic wise though. But I think the big thing, and then we'll get to the players here. I think the huge thing here of the difference is the turnovers. Looking at the turnovers here, they are number 4. Actually, they're tied for 4th. And offensively, offensively turnovers per game, they are only letting up 0.6 per game, which is exactly what Ohio State is. Defensively, they are getting 2.2 turnovers defensively a game. That is absurd.
That's really, really good. Now, before we get...
While Ohio State is only getting 0.8, which is near the very, very bottom.
So we're probably losing the turnover battle. We've lost the turnover battle most of the games recently, although I say that when you look at it deeper. I think Ohio State's actually tied.
The
situation of the turnovers
they are plus 0.2. Just a tad on the good side there.
Now here's the problem with all these stats, Kyle. Now, our stats wouldn't count the Indiana State game, as Indiana State is an FCS school. So, Ohio State doesn't get to count their Grambling numbers, and Indiana doesn't get to count their Indiana State numbers.
Right.
That being said, out of conference, Kennesaw State and Old Dominion. Now, even some pretty hardcore college football fans would probably tell you that those two teams are FCS schools. They aren't, but they were recently. Mm-hmm. This is the worst out of conference schedule I have ever seen. And
yeah, it was terrible.
Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and Indiana State.
They looked bad against Old Dominion.
It's,
at least offensively.
It's rough. Like,
yeah.
This is
that was week 1, but
yeah, but this is a rough out of conference schedule. I don't mean rough. I don't mean rough in a challenging way. I mean rough in an embarrassing way.
Yeah. So I guess we have to look at we have to compare the teams that both Indiana and Ohio State has played.
I'm not even that interested in doing that because I think Indiana put forth a certain amount of. I'm only interested in doing that if we're looking purely at the differential, the point differentials, because I know Indiana's probably put up, especially on the offensive side, some more gaudy numbers because Ohio State was shortening games, right? So be like, oh, well, they scored 30 on, well, Ohio State didn't play Oregon, but Indiana scored 56 points on Purdue. How many did Ohio State score? And it's probably, I don't remember what it was, but it's nowhere near 56, right? Ohio State just simply wasn't interested, especially through November, unless you're Michigan, in playing full football games.
Mm-hmm.
Which is part of the reason why I specifically asked you to look at the per play average when we're looking at the stats. Because Ohio State's been shortening games. They aren't putting up gaudy numbers because they don't care to.
If I'm going to compare to 4 games, Illinois, Penn State, Wisconsin, and UCLA.
Okay.
Those 4 games. There might have been another one in there. But I'm going to pick those 4 games. Again, there might have been another one, but if I did those 4 together, the point differential is Ohio State 114 points,
mm-hmm.
Indiana 130. It was 177 points for and 47 given up for Indiana versus Ohio State 154 and let up 40, so just 7 points less than Indiana.
Okay. So advantage Indiana on that, but again,
sure. So let's look at the players.
Ohio State, if Ohio State wanted to, they could have beat UCLA 56-6.
Sure. And the big thing here, I think we heard this in a number of places. Before last week, there was a stat out there that Ohio State has ran a full game less plays than Indiana. So Ohio State has played pretty much one less game in terms of plays than Indiana.
Sure. And I know we talked a lot on Scarlet and Grade and probably a decent amount on last week's Know Your Enemy about, how much healthier Ohio State is or was compared to Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And, the injury situation at Indiana isn't necessarily bad.
Mm-hmm.
I know they didn't have EJ Williams last week. But they don't appear to be, as injury riddled as say Michigan was last week. It helps that unlike Michigan and more like Ohio State, that they haven't been in a ton of competitive football games. Indiana hasn't been. They were in a barn burner with Penn State a few weeks ago, but the Oregon game was also close. But for the most part, they've also had the opportunity to mix in other teams. The Iowa game was also close.
Yeah, they pretty much had.
I think it's worth noting.
Games is it? 1, 2,
I think it's worth
3,
noting that anytime they've played a decent
4.
football team, and for the sake of decent, I'm going to say Iowa, Oregon, Penn State, especially Penn State later in the season, they played a better Penn State than Ohio State played. Let's be honest about that, right? Penn State started to sort of figure some stuff out later in the season. Ohio State had Penn State at their near worst. So, credit to Indiana. Those weren't the same football teams. I'm not trying to be a homer here.
Indiana has had 4 games where they were within 2 score, where their opponents were within 2 scores for the final score. That is, they 4 games. Penn State by 3, Oregon by 2, Iowa by 5, and Old Dominion by 13. And how many games would you think? And how many games would you think the Ohio State opponents have in the final score have been within 2 scores?
Texas.
Just Texas.
Yeah. So again, that was week 1. I don't know. It's not, you would think this would be easy to compare.
It's really
not.
We've got a lot of numbers up here. If you're watching us on the YouTube, we got a lot of numbers up here for like Mendoza, very accurate, 72%, 32 passing touchdowns. Is that what counts as
accurate in Bloomington? That's
32 passing touchdowns, days. 6 rushing, only 5 interceptions. They got a dual running back which they have almost 1,700 yards and 13 touchdowns between the two. And they got a pair of wide receivers who each have, who are each over 600 yards and 11 touchdowns each as well too. Yeah, no, the running game for Indiana is top notch. They're one of the top teams in terms of rushing. They're rushing over 200 yards per game, puts them number 9. I think Michigan was 10th, and we saw Ohio State holding them to 100 yards for the entire game there. But yeah, I think this team really does well, Indiana, because their defense puts them in really good position to be able to score too. As I mentioned before, they're causing 2.2 turnovers a game. That's absurd. That's a lot. And you look at some difference makers, and it really starts with their safeties. Their safeties have a combined over 100 tackles, 9 interceptions between the two. Like that's a big difference maker right there. And then you have their edge rusher, Steph Daly, who has almost 20 tackles for loss as well. And their defensive tackle, has 10 tackles for loss as well. So their defensive line getting it done up front. Linebackers are doing what they need to do, and their safeties are just cleaning up too. It's just a really, really well balanced defense that Indiana has.
I mean, well balanced actually really just describes the entire team that well. As well. I mean, this is the most balanced team Ohio State's played all year, offensively and defensively. They're, athlete for athlete, they can't stay on the field with Ohio State. But also, there's no holes.
Mm-hmm.
With Michigan, it was like, well, if you can get some points up on them and force them to pass and get away from their run game, or if you load the box and you take out their run game and force them to pass, then they'd be in trouble, which, we said last week and then we saw on Saturday.
Yeah.
It's, you're not going to get any such ease against Indiana.
Yeah.
They have a incredibly effective run game and pass game. On the defensive side, they stop the run well, they stop the pass well. There are no holes in the Indiana team.
Yeah.
They are solid across the board. And again, I will say, athlete for athlete, they can't stick with Ohio State. If Ohio State executes to the best of their ability, Ohio State will win. But the margin of error is slim. Probably the most slim it's been since Texas. More slim than it was against Michigan. This is a better football team than Michigan, if that needs to be said. If you need to hear
5.5 points.
I mean, if you fuck Vegas. Just, this is, Michigan had injuries and Michigan has an anemic passing game. Indiana, I would say in spots, can't even necessarily hang with Michigan athlete for athlete in spots in certain position groups. But what Indiana has over Michigan, even if it's not the top-notch athletes, what Indiana absolutely has is consistency across the board. It is also a very veteran team, whereas Michigan was a very young football team. As much as we enjoyed that victory over Michigan, and you should, know that that is a very young football team Ohio State beat. Now, you could also say Ohio State's a very young football team, and on the offense, that's certainly true. But that's a very young Michigan team Ohio State beat. If they can keep that band of players together, which in this day and age is not a given, but if they can keep that band of players, that's going to be a better Michigan team next year.
Yeah. We got to take an ad break.
I'm just saying Michigan's a young team. This Indiana team is not. This is a veteran football team. And, I also don't want you to think that, like I'm saying, that Indiana doesn't have athletes. Indiana does have athletes. Hemby and Black are excellent running backs. Amari Cooper is an excellent wide receiver. All three of their receivers are very good. Again, athlete for athlete, not as good as Ohio State's wide receivers, but they're still very, very, very good. This is not a team you can take lightly. And this is not a team that you can sleepwalk and beat. If you're Ohio State, you need to come out and you need to execute. The margin for error here is much slimmer than it was against even Michigan or Penn State. Much more similar to the slim margin of error you had when playing Texas. Ohio State should win this game, but Indiana can win this football game. This is not a given.
All right, let's go and take our ad break here, Jared, and we'll go ahead and continue our discussion here. TheSloopcast.com, your go-to link for everything Sloopcast related. You can find this episode and all of our other episodes over at youtube.thesloopcast.com. Again, you can find that link over at our main page as well. You can check out our merch store. We got some new items over at merch store for if you're looking for a holiday gift, merch.thesloopcast.com or 7071.thesloopcast.com as well for any cool designs over there as well. So you can find those and much more over at thesloopcast.com. Let's take that ad break and we'll be right back.
Esquire in the chat says, we're going to finally uncork the offense, I think. Sayan is built for a dome. Sayan's built for a dome. Smith is built for a dome. Ryan Day's offenses are built for domes. Ryan Day didn't dwell on it a lot, but during the post-game press conference after the Michigan game, he said, and I interpret this as him thinking that the offense was held back, but he said something along the lines of, this game plays out very differently in different weather.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an athlete advantage, which again, Ohio State does, if you have an athlete advantage, playing in a dome is beneficial to you greatly. It essentially turns into a track match at that point. Not a track match, a track meet. A track game, a track competition.
Ooh.
Kyle, this is where you, the track person, are supposed to make fun of me.
I'm just gonna move on. It's
okay. Fair
Indiana, Jared, looking for their first win over Ohio State since 1988. I mean, this is their best shot since 2020. That they'll really.
I mean,
this is their best. This is their best shot since 2020. That they have that chance to beat Ohio State here. Now, yeah, I mean, sure, you can look at last year. Yeah, you can look at last year, but Ohio State just dominated, absolutely dominated that game.
Well, and I think that's a thing maybe worth exploring, is that the last time these two teams met, and granted, they are different football teams. Sayan wasn't on that team. Well, I mean, he was on the team, but he was a redshirt freshman. Or excuse me, he was a true freshman who was redshirting. He didn't play. Thank you, Kyle. Mendoza wasn't on the football team. Lots of players are different. So it's lazy to just be like, these teams played last year and Ohio State crushed them. But it's still more true than it isn't. It's more true than it isn't. Spike says, but knowing we may see them again in the playoffs, does Day empty the tank to win this one? Yes. Ohio State has not won the Big Ten since 2019, and Ryan Day knows that.
You could say the same thing with Indiana too. I mentioned they haven't won the Big Ten.
I'm answering Spike's question specifically when I say that. Day's not going to hold anything back. I'm just saying that specifically within.
There's some dumb outlets out there that or say maybe these teams should hold back and rest. Like, does this game really mean anything?
Yes,
it means everything, because there's a lot of talk about like the Georgia and Alabama. Like, does the SEC championship game really mean anything nowadays when both of them are going to get in, and this and that? It's like, yeah, it really should. It really should.
Esquire asks, first he says, I bet Sayan throws a mean javelin. Sure. I have no reason to doubt that he could do that if he wanted to. But then he says, will we blitz Mendoza? I wonder. The way the defense has operated so far this year is they will selectively blitz. They will situationally blitz. They kind of have a tendency to like, oh, we're just gonna send three guys. Oh, we're just gonna send three guys. We're just going to send three guys, and then sort of build the confidence up of the quarterback a little bit, make them think they can hold the ball a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, five guys.
Yeah.
Burgers and fries. Like, here comes the blitz.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, sorry, go ahead.
Ready to do some sloop stairs here?
Sure.
All right. First question here: Ohio State player to watch in this game here. To me, I think it's going to be Julian Sand He needs to just continue being himself that he has been all year, just absolute legend that he is and has been all year. Being able to just move the ball with ease, converting those third downs, and keeping those drives alive there. It's going to come down to Julian Sain being able to put the ball where it needs to go into his playmaker's hands there. So, yeah, I'll go with Julian Sain.
I got Sain and Mendoza in the thumbnail. I'm definitely going to pick Mendoza on the enemy player to watch.
Yeah.
And we haven't touched on it because I don't care about the Heisman, quite frankly. It's not important to me. It's political, and it's people will submit their votes before they even get it's the voting's regional. The Heisman's stupid. I don't really care about it. But according to a lot of people, the people who do care about it, this game is not just for the Big Ten, it's also for the Heisman, according to some. Maybe. So but I don't care. I don't care about the Heisman. I'm going to go Mendoza for enemy player to watch. But on the Ohio State side, I'm more concerned about the defense. Ohio State will get their points. I don't care how good Indiana thinks their defense is. Ohio State will get, at worst, 27 points. This defense is yet to allow more than 17 points this year. And does Indiana break that? Does Indiana put up a new high against this defense? It's legitimately possible. Again, this is the most complete the most complete offense Ohio State has played all year. It is entirely possible. I've never felt more concerned that a team is going to score 20 plus on this defense. So to me, the key is the defense. And therefore I'm going Caleb Downs.
Okay. Yeah. Indiana, Mendoza was the easy choice here, but I think I'll pick their safety, Lewis Moore. 86 tackles, 5 interceptions for the safety there.
Sure.
I'll pick him as the Indiana player to watch. Is he going to give Sain any kind of issues when he's trying to throw the ball deep or to throw it into specific coverage that Sain thinks that they may be in too? So I'll go with the Lewis Moore for Indiana player to watch. Key matchup. Yeah, I think honestly, I know this whole game is revolved around Sain versus Mendoza, but honestly, it's the running attack from Indiana that's been really the big thing in this game here. They got a two-headed back here, him being Black, that we discussed before. We mentioned at the start of the season that Penn State has the best dual running back. Now, I think athletically wise, I still think that's true. Penn State still does, but if you look in terms of the stats, Indiana has the two-headed back monster right now too. So I think it's Ohio State's front seven being able to stop these two running backs, because they may be able just to try to run at Ohio State, seeing the type of success at times that Michigan had against Ohio State, and can they replicate that with him being Black and be able to get what were they averaging? Where was it here? 5.5 yards per carry.
Yeah. I'm going along those same lines. I'm going to take a little different focus than you, but along those same lines, I'm going with the interior of the Indiana offensive line versus the interior of the Ohio State defensive line. If Ohio State can stop the easy stuff up the middle and push the running game to the outsides where, Downs and Reese and of course Styles can get involved and clean stuff up, I think you'll be okay on the running game. But in order to do that, you have to stop the interior running game. And so I think that's maybe as much the key to the game as anything else is Caden McDonald, who's on a wild streak of dominating right now, Edric Houston, Will Smith Jr., Tywin Malone. That's the matchup I'll be watching most closely on Saturday night. By the way, just real quick, the SEC is playing in the afternoon and the Big Ten is playing in prime time.
That's how it has been.
That's how it has been for the Big Ten, for the conference championships.
Yes.
Totally backwards for the regular season.
Yes. All right. The spread, Jared. Ohio State is a 5.5 point favorite against the Hoosiers in this matchup here. Yeah, it is. Nope, he left. So our guest picker, Suncard, did pick Ohio State to cover. So did Jared, and so did I.
Yeah.
But what do you have as the final score, though, Jared?
I have Ohio State 38, Indiana 20.
$38-20?
38-20.
All right. I have Ohio State 24.
Yeah,
just making sure my math's right. 24, Indiana 17.
There you go. Spikes.
Z Spikes, that was my pick. You got to pick something else, Z Spikes. I said it first.
It's not in the rules. You can't change the rules just because you don't like the way I'm playing. We can have the same score.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. All right. Cool. Anything
Spike,
else, Jared?
From
Anything
my
else you want to?
perspective, you did not get it out before Kyle did. I'm sure from your perspective, because of stream delay, you did.
Mm-hmm.
So from your perspective, I'm sure you think that's true.
Mm-hmm. We're going to go to the tapes. We'll go to the tapes and look at it.
The tape. Well, I'm the tape. I'm recording.
I know.
Kyle got it out first, but
okay.
From Spike's perspective, I'm sure he legitimately thinks he got it out first because from his perspective, he did. Anyway, important thing here is that Indiana blows.
Yeah. All right. That is our.
Don't make me quote the mailbox rule of contract
conference
acceptance.
Championship preview.
I won't.
Got anything else? Anything else you want to mention here before we wrap things up?
Do we have Austin's over-unders?
We do not.
We don't?
Do we?
I thought for sure he did.
Did he put them in there? Oh, he did. I didn't see it.
Austin,
I did not see him put that in there.
Austin, I expect a Team Jared when you go to listen to this.
Okay.
in the Sloop Cats only, right. Wherever you want in the Discord. But I just drop a single Team Jared emote, and we'll know what it means.
All right, here we go. Rapid fire. Tate and JJ catches 9.5. Over for me as well. Aiden Fisher and tackles, or I'm sorry, Aiden Fisher tackles at 8.5. Who is the leading linebacker? Yeah, the leading linebacker tackler for this team.
Isn't Hardy?
Oh no, you're right. Hardy is. Yep, font was too small. Yep, Hardy is. Yeah,
it's close.
I'm going under. I'll go under.
I'll go over.
All right. Reese, Jackson, and Curry sacks at 1.51. I'm I'm going to go under.
I'm going to go over.
Okay. Mendoza passing yards at 224.5. I'll go over.
Let's see. They are currently, as a team at least, passing at 242.7 a game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not much below average. So I'm going to go under.
All right. Bo and West rushing yards, 122.5.
This feels like a passing game. I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I'm thinking under as well. Not by much. I think both of them combined for just over 100.
Yeah, it's a good number.
All right, and Hemby and Surratt touches. No,
Surratt's their second wide receiver.
Yep, Surratt's their second receiver. Hemby is their leading rusher. Terms
He's
of
back 1A.
Rushes and yardage.
I'd call him back 1A.
Sure. 16.5 touches. Yeah, I'll go over. I'll go over because touches also includes receptions as well for Hemby.
Yeah. Does he get? I don't have that in front of me. Does he get a lot of receptions?
I will try to find that real quick. I don't know right off.
I only have his rushing stats in front of me. Surratt is their second leading wide receiver at 48 total for the year.
So here we go. If I do receiving, he's down there a little bit there. Receiving number Roman Hemby, he has 13 receptions for the year.
So 1 a game, roughly.
Yeah. Yep. I'm still going over.
I'm gonna go under.
Okay. All right. And last one is sand completion at 77.67%.
We saw one bad drive, then we saw Sayan back on his shit. Like after a couple iffy games without his wide receivers, then last week he's playing in the weather a bit, didn't seem to slow him down too bad. Now we get him in a dome. We know he has Tate. We know he has Smith. Yeah, give me the over. He's popping 80. He's popping 80 plus this game.
He hasn't popped an 80.
I just described to you why he hasn't popped an 80 in a bit. I know. Just said it.
I know. November 8th. 74%, 68%, and then last week 73%. I'm going with the recent numbers here, and I'll go slightly under at like 76%.
Unlike those 3 games, he has both of his wide receivers and we playing in good weather, which he hasn't got to do since November 8th.
Sure. But he hasn't faced a secondary like this.
And this secondary hasn't faced a wide receiver crew or a quarterback like this. Period.
Yeah, ever. Yeah. Yep. All right, cool. All right, that is everything on our list here, Jared.
All right. Do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
I'll just reiterate last episode. Just head on over to discord.thesloopcast.com. We will have much more information, much more talks in our Discord channel here. So come check us out again. Discord.thesloopcast.com.
Also, if you use basically any application that has built-in GIFs, like a built-in GIF search, just try searching Sloopcast in there. We have a lot of cool stuff. It's in Tenor, which is what most of the time, if your app has a integrated GIF function, such as Discord or Twitter or otherwise, it's almost always Tenor. So just search Sloopcast in there. You'll find some cool stuff. including Chucky Chestnut, because that's who that is. That is Chucky Chestnut, who is legally distinct from any other nut-based mascots. My lawyer is here. He'll confirm that for me. That is Chucky Chestnut. He is legally distinct from all other nut-based mascots, and he's dropping a microphone. All right, that's it. I like that one. All right, that's it. Tonight's ending music brought to you by Playing to Vapors. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, these are Playing to Vapors.